Brighton 2, Manchester United 1. What a disappointing result. But what actually happened behind the scenes? Let's analyze. Okay, so the story of this game is that of Manchester United, a team that over the past 2 seasons under Erik ten Hag has clearly improved in the art of pressing from the front foot and winning the ball high up the pitch. But there is also the story of Brighton, our opposition, a team that has mastered the art of bypassing the press. One thing that is great about Brighton is that they are able to create multiple pathways to get to their forward players from the goalkeeper or the centre backs. So for example here, Manchester United, as we've seen against Manchester City in the Community Shield and the FA Cup final, very compact through the middle, just making it very hard for the opposition to pass the ball through the middle. However, what we're gonna see here is that there is actually a lot of space here on the left, especially on the left. I think on the right with Mazraoui, Amad Diallo, who is actually quite enthusiastic with the press, Casemiro, Mason Mount also found himself a lot on the right-hand side. We were actually quite secure. But on the left-hand side, especially Rashford and Kobe Mainoo, they struggled a little bit with this phase of play. For example, here you see there is a lot of space on the left-hand side of Marcus Rashford. Now here he has to make a decision. If he goes towards Veltman over here, then Kobe Mainoo has to actually follow Milner. Otherwise, if Marcus Rashford goes here by himself, he opens up another avenue for Van Hecke in that he can go between Kobe Mainoo and Rashford. But here, while Rashford goes to the left-hand side, Kobe Mainoo does not really follow James Milner. And what happens is that Brighton are able to create a triangle to bypass Rashford and Kobe Mainoo. Veltman towards Milner, and here of course Kobe Mainoo, all he can do is to just chase a ghost, and of course that's not good enough. And throughout the game we've struggled with this aspect of how Brighton played by going wide then center, bypassing Kobe Mainoo and Marcus Rashford. But that was not the only way, because there were a few sequences, like there was a time when Kobe Mainoo himself actually won the ball against Brighton. Van Hecke made a mistake. Kobe Mainoo intercepted the ball. So Brighton could use this way, but they could not use it all the time. So they had to think of a different pathway, and they had it. And that name is Danny Welbeck. So as you can see here, the same thing again. James Milner, Gilmour over here, they're occupied. A lot of Manchester United players, 5 of them, making sure that there isn't enough space, but they can just go wide towards Danny Welbeck. Now, if you remember, when I made a video about Weghorst, those of you who have been with me for the past 2 years, they remember it. I was not excited about Weghorst becoming a prolific striker for us. I was excited about this aspect of the way he plays. That means he allows us to bypass the opposition's play. And we played this way with Weghorst, if you remember, against Barcelona, against Leeds United, and he was excellent. But why didn't Erik ten Hag use him in every game in this capacity, which is obviously his strength? I don't know. If also you remember when I talked about the goal we scored against Fulham, the Xerxes goal, I said that for defenders, there's nothing worse than playing against these strikers that drop deep or move into the channels. It makes it extremely hard. And in this game, Lisandro Martinez really struggled with Welbeck, and on a second level, Joao Pedro. So here, Lisandro Martinez comes in close. Is he hugging him? Is he choking him? I don't know. But Welbeck doesn't care because he did his job. Coming in deep, laying the ball towards Veltman. And Welbeck came in deep over here. Minte, very smart, who is the right winger, moves into the central position, dragging Diogo Dalot with him, making sure that Veltman has all of this space right here to exploit it. They were not able to score, but that's the idea. And they did it again. Here, this was even worse than the sequence that I just showed you. Still, again, as you can see, 5 Manchester United players. We make it hard for Brighton to play through the center, but they don't care. They still play through the middle, but just they go long. And here in this sequence, what we have here is Welbeck with Harry Maguire and Lisandro Martinez, and then here Joao Pedro is moving in deeper, but then getting ready to attack the ball. Welbeck towards Joao Pedro, very good, and then he just passes Lisandro Martinez. Guys, this is not good enough. I think Lisandro Martinez deserves criticism here. We've already seen a little bit snippets of it against Fulham, especially against Adama Traore. But then progressively, Lisandro Martinez became better and was able to deal with him with ease. But here in this game, Lisandro Martinez looked like the game was passing by him. Joao Pedro, and then here Brighton, they're in a position where they're in a 5v3. Those who are the keen-eyed among you are going to remember this sequence as being the one where Diogo Dalot had to make a goal line clearance. So yeah, very dangerous situation. And so Brighton were extremely hard to deal with, because they could build up from the back, they could go to the wide areas and then through the center, or with Steele, they could go straight towards Welbeck and Joao Pedro, because both of them have very good hold-up play. And so Manchester United simply could not cope with them, and this is the main reason why we could not have any sense of control or dominance over the midfield. But of course, this is just one aspect. This by itself would not really result in you losing the game. For you to lose the game, you need another thing, which is, are you creating chances and are you making the most out of your chances? And this is something I've been saying it about Manchester United for the past decade. We can never be a top team unless we develop a killer instinct. We are now a good team. A team that hovers between 6th and 2nd position, depending on our form, depending on the form of the teams around us. But we are not going to be a top team until we are able to develop that ruthless killer instinct. And we don't have it. Case in point. Another build-up, good build-up from Manchester United. Casemiro here, key player. Kobbie Mainoo, great ability to keep the ball. Casemiro is going to get it. And then here, as you can see on the left-hand side in the corner, we have Marcus Rashford. This is what Marcus Rashford is all about. And here what I like about it. The moment Casemiro gets the ball, look at Marcus Rashford's run. He's not running straight. He's actually making a vertical run in order to ensure that he is onside. And here, I think he's onside, you know, just maybe, I don't know, 10 centimeters. But Casemiro misses the pass. And in this situation, he's just overhit. And Casemiro has a lot of time on the ball. He should be doing much better. But this is what Rashford is all about. These balls in behind the defense, that's when nobody can catch Rashford. Van Hecke, Dunk, Veltman, none of them would have been able to catch Rashford. And here the odds would be for Rashford. Go around the keeper, place it to the bottom corner. Rashford could have scored this. And we had 3 sequences like these. I'm not going to show you all of them because otherwise it's going to be a 2 hour long video. But we had a lot of these situations just like this one, but we could not capitalize on them. Exhibit B. And this is with Amad Diallo. Again, I'm not criticizing him. I really like him. I think he's going to develop into a great player. But this is a great example of the trade-off you get. With young players, you get fearlessness. You get energy. You get enthusiasm, right? But the trade-off is, of course, poorer decision-making, okay? And here, what Amad did is just not good enough in this situation. Counter-attack from Manchester United, him, Rashford, and Bruno Fernandes. Here, really, there are only 2 choices you can make. This pass right here, you're going to do it 9 times out of 10. 1 times out of 10, you could go towards Bruno Fernandes, through ball towards this area, which would have been just as good a choice. But you would never do the choice that, what is this? Come on. And so if we cannot capitalize on these chances like these and punish the opposition, we are never going to be a top team. And here's another case, again with Amad Diallo. To be fair, this is probably testament of Amad Diallo's great off-the-ball movement. The fact that he was able to be in so many chances like this one. But here, guys, I mean, come on, here, there's only one choice. If you remember the Antony assist against Chelsea for Garnacho, outside of the left boot into the path of the striker. This is what Amad should have done. And Zirkzee, if you remember my analysis video about him prior to him joining us, I showed you how at Bologna he scored so many of these chances. Face to face with the goalkeeper, rounds him up, places it into the empty net. That's kind of his signature move. This could have been a goal for Manchester United. And yet Amad Diallo just does too much. And that's it. We just lose the ability to score. But again, the best transition to that would be how we scored the goal. We scored the beautiful goal, and it was everything that we could not do in the sequences that I just showed you. Here, we have this cute flick from Mainoo towards Mazraoui, okay? But also pay attention to Amad Diallo over there. As soon as Mazraoui gets the ball, Amad makes the move. It's very important because it makes it easier for Mazraoui, because here now Mazraoui knows exactly what Amad wants to do. Therefore, he can make a decision and act much faster. And Mazraoui does what Casemiro could not have done in the previous sequences. That's just the right pass. Right pass, right weight, right direction towards Amad Diallo. Now, Amad Diallo still has a lot to do, but he does it well. He knows what he wants to do. I'm going to cut into my left foot and I'm going to shoot hard and low. And that's exactly what he does. And this is reminiscent of, you know, those players like Saka and Mahrez and Salah and Robben, those left-footed right wingers. You know they're going to cut onto their left foot, and they do it anyway because they know what they're going to do it, and they have just the right amount of skill and physical attributes to be able to put it off. Beautiful goal. And the reason why we scored is because we identified the opportunity and we did everything right. Every step from Mainoo to Mazraoui to Amad Diallo was just the right decision, executed in the right manner. Now let's talk about the first goal that we have conceded. Many people are talking about who's to blame, and I'm going to tell you who's to blame. It's actually this man right here, Casemiro, okay? Let's analyze. So the first thing that happens here is Kobbie Mainoo. As you can see, he's actually marking James Milner, but he's telling Lisandro Martinez, come on, Lisandro, hand off. You take care of him, because now he's leaving Kobbie Mainoo's zone and going into Lisandro Martinez's zone. It's like every control tower, you know, when you take a flight. Every plane, as it moves into a new airspace, it just gets handed off to the other control tower. And that's the same thing over here. Good stuff from Mainoo, and then also good stuff from Lisandro Martinez, who just obliges and just does his job. But as Lisandro Martinez is coming close to James Milner, here Harry Maguire is identifying danger. And the danger is the number 41, the left back, who's coming closer and who's not supposed to be here. So Harry Maguire is talking to Casemiro here. He's looking towards him. He's like, hey, Casemiro, you gotta mark this guy. If I'm marking Danny Welbeck right here, you gotta mark this guy. Why? Because with Welbeck, the left back, and Mitoma, there is only Maguire and Mazraoui over there. If these three players decide to get involved, there's going to be numerical superiority, and of course the Manchester United players are not going to be able to deal with them. So what happens next is this. The ball is going to come in, okay? Obviously nobody's watching. So Casemiro, what is he doing? Neither is he marking Welbeck nor the left back. Anyway, a ball comes in, but already you can see what Maguire was afraid about. These three players are going to get involved in a minute. So the ball comes in. Now, Mazraoui has to make a decision. As the right back, he has to go and put pressure on Mitoma. Now what's happening? Notice how Lisandro Martinez is not marking James Milner anymore, because Minte is the most imminent threat. Therefore, now he switches his attention towards Minte. Harry Maguire is with the left back. But then Welbeck is there by himself. Welbeck has moved into a position between the two center backs, but both of them are occupied. This should be Casemiro's. What is Casemiro doing? Nothing. Casemiro should be with Welbeck, because all of these players are occupied. You cannot expect Harry Maguire to be in a position where he can nullify the threat of these two players. He has to make one option. And of course, he has to go to the player who is closer than him. If he went to Welbeck instead of the left back would have scored in this space. By going to the left back, leaving Welbeck by himself, Welbeck is going to score. That's it. All of these players, Mazraoui, Harry Maguire, and Lisandro Martinez, all of them are doing their job. The only one not doing it is, of course, Casemiro. And that's why we've conceded this goal. Now, of course, the last goal, I'm not going to show it to you here. Not only because I'm just mad at it. I'm mad at the players, the fact that they've conceded in that fashion at that stage of the game. So I don't want to talk about it again, okay? But also, I've watched that clip over and over again to see if I missed something, or if there is something to it that everybody else has missed. But actually there isn't. It's just misunderstanding with the players, and so they were caught off guard, caught off position. Should not have happened, but it's something that is also easy to deal with. We haven't conceded many goals in that fashion, so it's not a chronic problem that Manchester United has. It's unfortunate, but it's not a big deal. What's a big deal, however, is this sequence right before we conceded that goal. This sequence is what led to the corner. So here what we have is Kobbie Mainoo, who lost the ball in midfield, going all Wayne Rooney at it, fighting for every ball. Commendable. I commend the spirit. But this was in the 95th minute, 94th. You don't do that. At this stage of the game, just take the draw. They scored first. We equalized. There was the Garnacho goal that was overruled. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. 1-1, it's fine. Easier to digest than losing 2-1 in the final stages of the game. But here, look what happens. The other Manchester United players follow him. So we find ourselves in this situation where there are 4 Manchester United players and 3 Brighton players in their own half in the 95th minute. And what Steele does, easy, is just bypass all of this with a beautiful pass towards Veltman. And then Veltman can just run at us, and they were able to create a situation. I think the Licha had to make a clearance, and that's how they got that corner. But while I am very happy to see Manchester United improve in our ability to press high up on the pitch and win the ball up, we also have to understand that pressing, while as important as it is not more important than learning when to press and when to hold your position. And Manchester United are still naive. I showed you that sequence against Manchester City in the Community Shield, where we did the same thing, and then Casemiro just ended up by himself in like 40 square meters of arable land. We gotta stop doing this, and especially not at this stage. If this was at the 33rd minute, fine, I get it, but not at the 94th minute. What were we trying to accomplish? We gotta learn how to use our brains in situations like these. Alright, so while I do seem overly critical in this video, well, it's because I am a Manchester United fan, okay? And I want the team to improve in the areas where I find them lacking. This is why I am honest with my review of Manchester United's performance. However, I still do think that in this game, we did enough for us to deserve getting the 3 points. And of course, the big elephant in the room is, of course, the Garnacho disallowed goal. And look, in life, in general, I don't blame others for my misfortune, okay? And in football, I believe that these kind of decisions in the long term eventually even themselves out, okay? I don't think there is any team that has any absolute advantage when it comes to refereeing decisions. However, there's a reason why not every team gets a penalty when the ball hits someone on the arm. It's because the referees ask, a few follow-up questions. Was the arm in a natural position? Was there intent from the player? Did the player have any choice of where they put their arm or not? And based on these, you make a decision. Well, it's the same thing with the Garnacho goal. I mean, Xerxes was not even involved in the play. And the only reason he was in that position is because of the momentum from his slide earlier where he was onside. And also he was not interfering with play. It's not like he was blocking the view or access to a Brighton goalkeeper or defender. There was nobody around him. And the fact that that goal was disallowed, to me, it's ludicrous. It's baffling. In a league like the Premier League, where the stakes are high, that they disallowed that. They looked at that and they did not use 1 ounce of common sense into deciding, okay, the rules say this, but can we look at the situation in a vacuum? How about this situation though? Does this warrant not allowing the goal? And the problem now that we have is that it's gonna take a monumental mental effort from the players to provide a spirited response against Liverpool. Our game against Liverpool would have been easier with 6 points out of 6. But right now you can already see in the press, doubt is brewing. Criticism of Erik ten Hag. Erik ten Hag out! And that's how we're going to be playing against Liverpool. And this has the potential to derail our season. If you remember, the same thing happened against Arsenal with that Garnacho disallowed goal that was in game week 3. And of course, the rest, as we know, is history. Doubt is like cancer to a team. And this Manchester United team, the players, they are still fragile mentally. So I really hope that this doesn't have big repercussions. I really hope that the only price we pay for this refereeing decision is the 2 points that we dropped against Brighton. So guys, let me know what you think about my analysis video. What do you think about that refereeing decision? What do you think about the way Manchester United have played? The reason my voice sounds like this is not because I'm sick, it's just because I was yelling at the screen yesterday like a maniac. Until next time, cheers.